Warm welcome, dear teachers. Before we begin, and meanwhile others are joining, I just launched a poll. So meanwhile, if you could all answer. And also, I'll get to know you more better. So there is a poll that has been launched, teachers. If you could just quickly answer that poll so that we can start with the webinar. Can you all hear me? If any one of you could just, okay, I'm sure you can hear me because I got the response. So thank you so much for that. I want to learn basic modern practices of modern days classroom. Brilliant. I think I've got a 100% response with the same reply. So that's amazing. Okay, that's nice. So let's begin our webinar. So I'll just close the poll for now. I'll end the poll. Great. So I'll be the mentor for the entire webinar. My name is Manju Borkar. I have been in the field of education for the past 16 years. I'm also an internationally certified life coach. I'm also an NLP trainer. I'm also a Google certified trainer and a Microsoft educator. All right. So I'll quickly take you through what innovative teaching practices is all about, as I know it's much awaited for. So please allow me to share my screen. Thank you. I hope you all can see the presentation. Any one of you, if you could give me a quick digital thumbs up. My screen is visible. Okay, let's begin. So once again, thank you so much, Prema. Thanks for acknowledging. Thank you, Kanimozi. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct. So thank you so very much, all of you. And let's begin. So again, a very good morning. And today's webinar is basically on, thank you, Ashwin, is on innovative teaching practices and learn from the top teachers in India. This is a strong ethos of our educator. Our association is with Google for Education partner. Also, we are AT endorsed program, Microsoft Certiport certified exam partner, Guana, and also with R of Code. This is about our founder. He very strongly believes that, Tanya, I'll just put you on mute, please. He very strongly believes that the upskilling of teacher is very important. And we have, till date, we have empowered 10,000 plus teachers. And we have also been featured in media, like you can see on the screen. We've been in ANI, we have also been in New Delhi Times, India Shots, India Today, First Education News. Sorry for that. Let's know a bit more about UP Educators. We are India's leading institute to offer instructor-led training courses. All our courses are instructor-led. It's online, one-on-one with the trainer. It's an online platform, basically. We don't have any self-paced module or videos that's been given. So it's nothing that's self-paced. It's all instructor-led. So we help educators because we want them to be very confident using technological tools in the classrooms. And that's the need of the hour, right? So till date, we have trained 10,000 educators. I'll just move the chat for a minute. You can see some of them on the screen. We have trained educators from 3,000 plus schools and colleges. You can see like Vibgyor High, JVCN, Euroschool, DY Patil, and much more. We have trained teachers from around 25 countries. You can see some of them on the screen. 1,000 plus educators have become Google and Microsoft certified educators. The experts at UP Educators, we very strongly believe that the expertise of these educators makes a big time difference for our teachers. So we have experts at educators, at UP Educators. That is Miss Achla Verma. They're all national awardee teachers. You can see some of them on the screen right now. So I won't be naming all of them so that, you at least get an idea that we have all these national awardee teachers who come and address our participants. Okay. Ms. Sangeeta Gulati, Mr. Krishna Kumar, Ms. Fanny, Lopamudra, Vinita. Basically, UP Educator is the largest community on social media. We have got 2 lakhs plus followers in India. So now let's begin. That was a bit about UP Educators, and we'll learn more about UP Educators once in a while. So what are the changes that's happening in education, right? Traditional method. I still recall sitting in those classes which you see like a black and white, and later on, things still changed. I still recall sitting in the classroom with the same color, with the same bench, shared, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. And mostly it has always been like a chalkboard, right? But things are changing. So these were some of the traditional method, but now things are changing drastically. And now you will have everything that's there on the smartphone, the smart board. It's more of a digital platform, basically. So technology is playing a very important role now. So John Dewey says that if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. It's very true, right? We are all living in a VUCA world, teachers. Things are very, very unpredictable. In the past few years, you must have seen when the pandemic hit, things changed. We saw that coding picked up. You must have seen only the ads of coding coming up during pandemic. Coding picked up. Robotics picked up. Now artificial intelligence. So if you see, we are all living in a VUCA world. Very unpredictable, uncertain, complexity, ambiguity. So we as teachers need to equip ourselves, else we will remain behind, So the more skills that's there with us, it helps us to navigate. Or else in this VUCA world, we won't know where to stand, correct? So we are all in this VUCA world. So what do we do? Improve learning outcome for every learners? And how do we do that? We need to ignite those interests. And how do I ignite that interest? That is all that we'll be learning in this course. How to trigger curiosity. Engaging learners meaningfully. Preparing them for the future. So we will dive deep into this. For all this, if you will see, is the use of technology. Correct? So you will understand more about this course, why the technology blend, and why we have some of the modern teaching practices, the innovative teaching practices, a complete blend of this course. What we are all aware of, we all know traditional content. Yes, we have a textbook. Digital content, yes, we are all aware. We have 3D content. We know about websites, about digital ebook, augmented reality, simulation, online assessments, and video. Correct, we are all aware of all this. But if you will see, schools are making more and more use of tech in their classrooms to engage learners. This is a virtual reality. I'm just sharing this video with you all. This is a virtual reality and a 5G, which will further fuel the growth of education and technology in classroom. I'll just share the sound. Yeah.
So we're gonna have an astrophysicist in the family.
Actually, I have to write this paper. Will you help me?
Let's take a closer look. What part of the solar system are we talking about?
Saturn.
If you were taking astrophysics, you could study in the metaverse.
Did you know the rings are made up of billions of icy particles?
Really?
Look at this.
You ready to do that paper now, right?
Yeah.
Very cool the shape that. See the way the learning is happening.
In the metaverse, you'll be able to teleport not just to any place, but any time as well. Ancient Rome. Imagine standing on the streets, hearing the sounds, visiting the markets, to get a sense of the rhythm of life over 2,000 years ago. Imagine learning how the Forum was built by actually seeing the Forum get built right in front of you.
Amazing, right? Very soon, even India is going to be teaching in this format. So emerging of international schools, which we all agree, you must have seen in the recent past, the schools are being converted into international schools. The state boards are now becoming ICSE, they're becoming, Neetal. Thank you so much, Neeta. A very good morning, Anuradha. So we all agree that there's an emerging of international schools in Cambridge and IB schools now. So if you will see in the past 10 years, there has been 150% increase in number of IB schools and around 110% increase in the schools that are affiliated to IGCSE. That's Cambridge. So the Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Delhi governments, they have collaborated with these boards so that they can offer international curricula in government schools on pilot basis. All right. And a good part is this, that we all agree that the teacher's salary is way high if you have to compare them with the average teacher. So that's the trend. That's the emerging trend right now. After 33 years, even the NEP has realized that old school of thought nahi chalega. Those conventional methods won't work. So what do we do? Right? So they have also changed their perspective of looking at education. They also strongly believe in experiential learning and to integrated curriculum, inquiry-driven exploration, learner-centered. I can really vouch for this learner-centered approach. I can cite one example, a story, and I'm sure you all must be aware of that story. In a class, there was a child. Okay. So the teacher, she said, come on, today we are going to draw a butterfly. And that child was so enthused, he started. She said, wait for my instructions. So the child was quiet. So the next day she said, come on, we're going to make a plate out of the clay. So the child quickly she gave everybody the clay ball and he started making. She said, wait for my instructions. So the child he was quietly listening to what teacher had to say. And it so happened that that child happened to relocate to another city. And the teacher said, today we will learn how to draw a flower. So this boy was looking at the teacher like that. And the teacher said, why aren't you drawing? He said, I'm waiting for your instruction. So what do? We killed the creativity of the child, right? So now things are changing. It can't be teacher-driven. It has to be learner-centered approach. So that child was so creative, he wanted to explore his creativity, but the teacher wanted to give her instructions. In bargain, she basically killed the creativity of the child. Correct. And now even the NEP endorses that it has to be learner-centered approach. Okay? Flexible learning structures, holistic education, enjoyable educational experience. So basically, we need to create a lifelong learners. All right? So for that, we need to now focus on the skill-based learning rather than concepts. Okay? We'll be learning this. I just still recall the days when I had to, go into these telephone booths and make a phone call. Used to not even have landline. Even to get a landline, like it used to take years. And we are living in an AI world now. So you see the shift that's there, right? So now the total maximum jobs that's available in artificial intelligence, which was not very popular if you see 7 to 8 years ago, correct? Up to everything that you see is kuch to bhi naya aata hi rehta hai about artificial intelligence, right? That is the reason, teachers, the skill-based training will prepare the students towards this VUCA world, the world which is so uncertain. So the reason you need to focus on skill-based rather than focusing on the concept, okay? So due to the digital world, the students' attention span is reducing, and I'm sure you all will agree to this. And teaching is monotonous. I always tell in my class that learn to break this monotony. If you will go into the monotonous space, learning will not take place. Thank you, Muthu. So we need to break this monotony. So that abstract way, once upon a time, there lived a king with his family. Nahi chalega. Bilkul bhi nahi chalega. Hai na? So what we need to do, these are abstract ways. You know, imagine there's a tree, the bird on the tree. All these are abstract way of teaching. So now abstract way is not going to work. So that's something which is, you know, the child will very nicely sit in the class and acknowledge whatever you're saying. But the retention is not going to happen. So the teaching is monotonous. So what do? The reason we are all here, right? To understand what are these innovative ways. So what do? You know, it's such a challenging task for teachers nowadays, right? So other recent challenges that we are facing in education is, Sayeda, hello. Engaging the students is vital. Absolutely, Dr. Suma. Now, the other recent challenges is STEM robotics has also been made a part of the curriculum. AI in education, gamification in education, social media in education. Correct? So all these are the recent changes that's happened in education. So what schools are looking for in teachers, right? So things are changing now. The profile, you know, for teachers are changing. Absolutely, activity-based teaching. So, you know, what are they looking for? So if you're applying for jobs, or even if you're there in the current job, you need to upgrade your skills. So what is it that the schools are now looking for in teachers? Growth mindset. If I will say, I'm a chemistry teacher, why would I learn coding? I don't learn robotics. What I got to do, the ICT teacher will do it. That won't work now. So you need to have a growth mindset, correct? You need to empower yourselves. You need to have more skills, correct? Student-centeredness. As I said, the teacher said, no, wait for my instructions. So what did she do? Yeah, Sanira, that's what this webinar is all about. We will be working on that. I'll be coming to those slides in a while. Thank you. So that is to break the monotony. She killed the creativity of the child. So it has to be student-centered. Comfort with technology. You really need to be at par with technology now. You know, the teachers used to even find it so difficult to draft question papers because they were not, you know, the technology is something that, you know, they used to feel that, you know, can we give it to the admin or can we give it to, you know, the ICT teacher? Okay, you know, it was so difficult for them. So you need to be comfortable with technology now. Okay, so that's what the schools are looking at. You need to have a strong subject matter knowledge and expertise. Modern teaching methods. So that's what we cover in this course. And a positive track record of student achievement. So you need to have a positive record of your students. You know, like how is your teaching different? How could you make different to the learners? All right. Competency-based assessments. strong organization and planning skills, and willingness to engage in online professional development. Even the NEP demands that, the professional development of teachers. So the growth mindset, all these things are what now the schools are looking for in teachers. Okay? Flexibility and adaptability. So are you all ready for this change? Can I quickly have this on the chat? Are we all ready for this change? Great. So I'm getting a good response as yes, right? So thank you so much, Avanti. Thank you, Prerna. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Muthu. Thank you, Deepa. Okay, so use of AR, VR in the classrooms, effective use of technology, methods of teaching, base assessments, AI in education, and developing 21st century skills. Thank you, Helen, Gandhi, Gomti. Okay, so UP educators, the professional certificate in innovative teaching practices. This certificate is from the Microsoft as well as endorsed by AT. So now let's understand, I think, who was asking me that question? Sanira was asking me this question. Probably Sanira would be covering it now. So fundamental pillars of teaching and learning process. So now let's understand the domains, okay? The domains of the fundamental pillars. So the domains are the teaching pedagogy, effective lesson planning, differentiation, classroom management, assessments. Now let's take one domain. Let's just move the chat. I'm unable to see. Now the first domain that we'll be covering is the teaching pedagogy. What is it that we all know? We all know role play, discussion, debate, lecture-based, demonstration, play by learning by doing. Yeah, hum sabko pata hai. Even in an interview, they will ask you, what is it that you do for your teaching pedagogy? I conduct role plays. I conduct demonstration, learning by doing. So this is what we all know. Correct. But what is it that we'll be learning in this course? Active learning strategies. There are different active learning strategies that we'll be covering. Blended learning, flipped classrooms. Flipped classroom is picking up now beautifully. Design thinking, inquiry-based learning, project-based learning, and gamification. So now you see the difference. These are all the old and conventional methods. But what are we going to learn is going to be innovative. Correct? So that's about your teaching pedagogy. I'll even be covering this in a while. Effective lesson planning. If I'm going to ask teachers, how are you going to plan your lesson plan? Ma'am, I'll have a set induction. I'll have some activities, some main activities. I'll conduct some activities. I'll give some real life examples. I'll have a closure and a recap. Isn't it? Isn't it? This is what we do, right? So this is how we plan the lessons. But what are we going to learn? We will be learning the 9 instructional model. And that's called as a Gagny's model to plan the lesson plan. So how am I making my lesson plan effective? What are my lesson objectives? That's called the LO, which is very, very important. And that is something which we all as teachers, whether you you're in a leadership role or you conduct some kind of seminars or a webinar or any workshop, the most important thing that applies to all of us is the LO. What's the learning objective? Correct? So now, how we have to deal with those learning objectives? How do I have those learning objectives displayed on the board so the learners exactly know what's my takeaway? Success criteria. You should be aware what's going to be the success criteria with this lesson plan that I have designed. Create a hook. It's very important. How do I grab the attention? Nowadays, that's a bit challenging, right? But that's what, how do I grab the attention? Then you go to the higher order thinking, and then end of the class assessments. Why is this so important? So we will understand this too. You must be wondering why end of class assessments. Yes. So formative assessment. So we cover a lot of things, and to understand how do I check my success criteria. Correct? So this is what we will be learning. I have a message. Okay, it was all yes. All right, so that's my effective lesson planning. Differentiation. This is the biggest challenge. I remember my teachers always coming up and saying, and there's always been, like, ma'am, sabko alag alag padhana hai. So that's not what we have to understand about differentiation. So what is it that we all know? We all know that we have diverse learners in the classroom. We all know that I have to cater to all the learners in my classroom. I know that I have special learners in the classrooms. Some of them with learning disabilities, some of them are slow learners, some of them are autistics. This is what we know. Correct. But what are we going to learn in this course? We will learn about how to differentiate between your readiness. Is a child ready? The interest level and the learning profiles. 3. What are my learning profiles? Is he a visual learner, an auditory learner, a kinesthetic learner, or read and write? So we understand the learning styles in detail. We understand the Bloom's taxonomy in detail. And then we try and couple it with whatever modules we are learning. So that mapping is very important. So that's how is the differentiation that takes place. Not that, oh, I have to cater to each and every, I have to cater to Prema, Sapna, Ratna, Tanya. How will I do that? Prema has a different learning style. Sapna has a different learning style. How do I do it? So that's not what we're looking at. That's personalized learning. So if I want to just cater to Prema, then that becomes my personalized learning. But I have to cater to these 50 participants who are there right now for this webinar. So that is my differentiation learning. And how am I doing it? How do I cater to all of them? That's what we learn in differentiation. Okay? So also we differentiate based on my content, my process, and my product. Got it? The first 3 was your readiness, your interest, your learning profile. Then it came to the content, process, and product. Personalized learning and inclusion education. So now you understood how it got segregated. The entire differentiation happened. Then we went to the personalized learning, and then we went to the inclusion education. Perfect? So is differentiation clear? Assessments. Now, what is it that we all know? We all know formative karna hai, summative karna hai, make question paper banana hai, feedback dena hai. Ho gaya. Hai na? But that's not now. There are a lot of things that we will be learning. The best practices of the diagnostic test, formative, summative assessments. And there are many different types of innovative, formative, and summative assessments. It could be peer-to-peer assessments. It could be self-assessments. It could be a performance-based, artistic performance. There are lots. So these are the different assessments that we can conduct. All right? Making question papers. So various type of feedbacks. What are the different type of feedbacks that I can provide to the learners? Rubrics for feedback. Why does that rubric play such an important role in providing feedback? And self-reflection, which is very important. For everything that you do, the self-reflection is very, very important. So this is what we'll be learning during our course. Okay? Then we come to classroom management, a task for the teachers. Ma'am, how do you manage the class? Even if you enter the class, they make so much of noise. Don't know what to do. You know? So I have to still recall my teacher aati thi with the duster leke, class, keep quiet. Ab ye nahi chalega. It's not going to work. You can't go to the class with the duster and bang on the table. Nahi chalega, people. So what do? Henna, so much of challenges that the teachers have nowadays. So what do we do now? So if I'm going to ask teachers generally come up saying that, oh, I have motivation, I give rewards, I praise my learners. Henna, this is what we all do, right? I'm sure you all agree. But there is something else to it also. The psychology theories how to manage classrooms. Thank you, Ratna. Ways to manage classrooms. Rapport building. Rapport building is very, very important. Gamification. Tell me something, teachers. Jab sports period hota hai, we have 100% attendance in school. The parent will come, to leave the child. The parent will say, man, he's under the weather. But he was insisting, man, to come to school because he has a soccer period. Please take care of him. In case if he's unwell, kindly give me a call. Haven't you all experienced this? So if you're going to have a sports period, you will have 100% attendance. So if I will have gamification, thank you so much, Farsana Avanti. A big yes. Absolutely. Mine is vice versa. Is that so, Prema? So what do we do in that case? Correct? If I have gamification in a form of teaching, so I'm going to have 100% attendance. So there are a lot of schools, who have even created a zone. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about gamification as a part of your education. Like Minecraft. It's so interesting. I'm telling you, my boys, they still, they'll come back also from work, you'll find them playing games. So I used to initially wonder, I said, what do they keep doing all the time with the remote? Some position change, the man changes, this happens, shooting, whatever, the doors open and all that. And then when I, understood Minecraft, I started exploring Minecraft and I realized, oh, this is what they do. And they got super excited. Oh, mom, you're learning Minecraft. And so imagine, they don't grow up, they love playing games. So if I have to teach them in the form of games, imagine it's going to be so beautiful. So you learn these gamification tools also in our course. Technology app, all these things will be covered. How to develop the writing skills? Yeah, I'll come to that, Gandhi. Okay. So now, all this what you learned right now, it also gets integrated with technology and AI. So now let's explore that. Now, I as a teacher, my standard format is, I will make a PPT. PPT bana deti hu. I'll put some nice videos. I'll make my PPT very nice, very appealing. And I'll go to the class. My teaching is superb. Henna? But post-COVID, when I was interacting with the learners, and it was a big no for a PowerPoint presentation. Because they're so saturated. They said, ma'am, the entire pandemic, we were with the PPT. Now it's a big no. So teacher kya karegi? Henna? So now for the teacher, she can't even use a PPT. So what does she do? So she has to make her PPT interesting, of course, that we learned during our course, how you can make it interesting. So if the teacher has to teach monuments of India, this is what generally she will do. Okay. Somebody was asking for, I think I declined it. I'm sorry for that. Give me a minute. It takes time to load. Yeah. If I have to teach this is what I would have done as teachers. Humpy ki nice picture laga diya. Humpy ke bare mein dal diya. And then I'm going to say, look, students, this is what it's about. Humpy. And then I will say Hawa Mahal. Okay, nice image of Hawa Mahal and all the details of Hawa Mahal. Then I'll say, come on, let's learn about Qutub Minar. And I'm going to teach them like that. Then I'll say Ajanta Caves. And then this is how I created my lovely PowerPoint presentation. And I felt that I have done a great task. Okay. I have done a great task. Right? Gomti also says big no for PPT. But if I have to teach this like that, So isn't that going to be interesting? It takes time to load the Google Earth. Okay. Now, if I want to teach Humpy and I actually give them a real experience, isn't that amazing? And also in the right-hand side, I have all the entire content and they just love it because, anywhere the physical activity, they have to move their fingers, arms, mouths, movements. They just love it. So what is it? I'm just doing it with my mouse, right? So any view which I want to give, zoom in, zoom out, whatever I want to do, I can do that. Correct? This is where I take them to Hawa Mahal. So instead of putting an image and showing them there, I could have just taken them on a Google Earth, right? And give them a nice view of Hawa Mahal, right? Qutub Minar. If I want to take them, I can click on any of these things which are there, just move across whichever place I want to take them. Then, there will be a description of that coming up. See, now it's giving me details about this St. John Church. So this is what it is, teachers. Just give me a minute. Okay. Now, if I want to take them to Ajanta Caves, I can take them like that. I can go, I can zoom whatever I want to. Correct? Whatever view I want to give them, aerial view, zoom in, zoom out, wherever I want to take them, whatever I want to do, I can just show them in detail. So isn't this amazing? Correct? So this is about Google Earth. So I would love to use Google Earth rather than taking them through a PowerPoint presentation. I will close the Google Earth, else it's going to slow down my internet. So be careful when you're using Google Earth, okay? So this is how I can transform my teaching pedagogy, all right? Now let's understand the teaching pedagogy in detail. We have a lecture and a homework activities, but if I do it flipped, so we learn the flipped classrooms. Flipped classroom is nothing, and there are different ways of conducting flipped classrooms. So if I have to flip my classroom, in a sense, what I'm doing in the class, they do it at home. And what they used to do it at home, they're going to do it in class. So that's a flip. Okay? So it's like your Bloom's taxonomy. So generally, what do teachers do? They do the lots in the class and the hots are given home. Now, ulta. So the hots will be done in the class and the lots will be done at home. So this is what is flipped classroom. And there are different ways of conducting flipped classrooms. I'm so glad, Prema, that you're using this method. And this is picking up beautifully now, the flipped classrooms. Okay. Then active learning and learning taxonomies. Understand, I'll be coming to that, Gandhi. When I'll show you Nearpod, I'll show you how you can teach physics too. So active learning and learning taxonomy. So what are we going to do is, first, we're going to understand the learning styles. So we deep dive into WARC. We understand what are the learning styles. We understand what is Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, and how do I map it? And then there are a lot of active learning. 5 we learn in the class and 10 supportive is provided in your LMS. So in all, we learn 15 active learning strategies, like think, pair, share, right? So instead of, telling children, whoever knows the answer, please raise your hand. So think, pair, share helps in 2 ways. One is your active learning that takes place. That's a part of your teaching. Second is also a part of your formative assessments, where we check the understanding of the learners. So instead of telling them, whoever knows the answer, raise your hand. So instead of raising their hand, if I tell them quickly, okay, we've learned these 2 books right now. Okay, The Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella. Come on, quickly, think about it. So, just go for a second, close your eyes, whatever you want them to do. And they're just thinking about it. And once they think about it, I'll say, come on, quickly, turn to your partner. So Prema turns to Sapna, Ratna turns to Tanya, whomever I can see on the screen right now. So they quickly turn and then they share. So they compare What was there in this book? What is there in this book? What is it? What is it? So that's what is think, pair, share. Correct. So this is applicable in two ways. One is to understand one is your teaching and learning process, and the other one is also as a part of a formative. So there are a lot of active learning strategies that we cover. That is round robin, round table, number head. So there is lots that's covered in active learning and learning taxonomy. Okay. Then the most effective modern ways of teaching. So these are active learning are your tools, right? Then we come to the modern teaching practices. My teaching, how can I conduct my teaching? A blended learning, project-based learning, flipped classroom, design thinking, inquiry-based and storytelling. In my first slide, I had covered that we have the guest speakers who come, who have the expertise. They come and address the participants. So for design thinking, inquiry-based, storytelling, project-based, we have the guest speakers. We have the guest speakers who will come and address the participants. All right. Gamification and social media and education. I already mentioned gamification. If that becomes a part of your education, like Minecraft I was talking about, so it makes a big time difference. You will be learning the three most powerful gamification tools and apps that you can make use of in your lesson plan. Okay. Then how social media that can be integrated into education. Only the social media which is apt for the education, from the education perspective, for their creativity, for their critical thinking, and for their IT skills. We also learn about Quora, Pinterest, and Instagram in education. We learn LinkedIn to develop networking. So also because you have an employability module, which I'll be covering in a while, so you will understand. This is very, very important. That's the 21st century skills. Collaboration, skilled communication, knowledge construction, self-regulation, real-world problems, and use of ICT for learning. Now, our entire course is a blend. It's a blend of MCE, that is your Microsoft Certified Educator. And you have this innovative teaching practices. So it's a combination. Because as we saw those pillars, and then we saw the technology playing an important role. So if you want, you can teach these innovative teaching practices in isolation without making use of technology. And you also have an option of using technology with this innovative teaching practices. So we will empower you with both. So this course is a combination of Microsoft as well as ITP, that's your innovative teaching practices, because technology plays a very important role. So during your MCE, these 21st century skills, you will dive deep into it, because this becomes a part of your examination. Okay, so now this, and as a teacher, if I am conducting my teaching practices, what level am I in? So in a collaboration, you have different levels. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So as a teacher, I can do my self-analysis. As in my teaching, if I have conducted a topic on heart, did I take the learners to level 4? In collaboration, that means when I was making them work in team, did I take them to that level? Skilled communication. So now these are the different domains of your 21st century skills. And it's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so that's your 21st century skills. So future generation must know how to solve the new global issues, which are not found in textbooks, right? So 21st century skills, collaborative inquiry. Now collaboration, everything is in collaboration. Nothing is happening in isolation now. So these are all things that we'll be covering. So this is what is your entire curriculum of your 21st century skills, where we deep dive into each and every skills. We empower you with a lot of quizzes. We empower you with mock exams so that you become so confident for appearing for the exam, and you will get your Microsoft certified badge. I'll be sharing that with you. Effective lesson planning, which we were talking earlier about. We will understand Gagne's model. Questioning technique is very important in the classroom. How to integrate Bloom's taxonomy, your teaching strategies, these active learning tools, and your 21st century skills. Now see how your lesson plan is going to be beautiful. You have with you your active learning tools with you. You have your modern teaching practices. Either you can, it's not necessary you need to use all of them, but you have a bank with you. So you don't have to struggle in planning your lesson. You know, should I use my active learning think, pair, share, or should I use a round robin? Okay, modern teaching practices. For this particular topic, I'll use a flipped classroom, you know, because I'm unable to complete my syllabus too. So this could go as a flipped classroom, a certain topic. So how do I plan now? Now I have all the tools with me. Correct? 21st century skills. So what do? I'll make them do a group work. So collaboration plays an important role. What level am I reaching? So imagine how beautifully your lesson can be planned, right? So this is about your effective lesson planning. Then we come to differentiation. What do you see in this image? You have a teacher sitting, and today he says we learn to swim. And look at all, whatever you can see on the image right now. So do you think it's possible? Quick yes or no in the chat. Do you think it's possible? For all of them? No. Ratna says no. Right? So this is our classroom as teachers. You have different, yes, all students say, so you have different learners. So how do I cater to those learners, right? That's what is differentiation all about. So we will be learning all those techniques. How can you have a differentiation learning? Okay. Then we come to classroom management. So, you know, there are lovely classroom, like, you know, there are the preschool teachers and the primary teachers. They generally sing, you know, are we listening? So, you know, the students know, and, you know, they will also sing with the teacher. And or if the teacher has some kind of a gamification. So the moment she comes and she starts with some gamification tool to start the class, everybody, there'll be a pin drop silence. So how do I do this classroom management, right? It's very important. So if I use technology, or if I do something that's of the interest of the child, you will be able to manage the class beautifully. Social emotional learning plays a very important role nowadays. Very, very important role. Okay. So you have a special guest speaker for this. She's an expertise. I'll be showing you her profile in a while. So, ma'am, how much technology should we use? I'll just come to that, Neeta. That's at your discretion. So how social self-awareness, self-control, interpersonal skills, all these become your SEL. That is your social emotional learning, positive behavior of the child. And how can you motivate the child in the class? Suppose if you're moving from one class to another class, and if we ask the learners, okay, come on, say that how can you create a rule on how do we move to library, for example. So they say that, ma'am, we all will go in a straight file with hands at the back. So they're going to follow it because the onus lies with them. Correct. So this is all we need to remember. Okay. Assessments, which we already covered. You will be understanding different types of assessments. You'll be understanding the rubrics. Why does the rubrics gives a clear understanding what's expected. What are the different types of alternative assessments, like peer observation, self-assessments, performance-based assessments, artistic performance-based assessments. So these are some of the alternative methods. Why feedback is so important? Okay, so this is all we'll be covering in feedback. Now, enhancing teaching and learning through data analysis. Because you'll be learning MCE, you will learn how to record the data. You will also analyze and interpret the students' performances. You'll be able to use technology into the classroom. You can develop strategies how you can support students using data analysis better. So now you're understanding how technology is also playing an important role in your teaching learning process. Technology and AI. Just need to chat. The TPACK model is beautiful. Okay, it's beautiful. So how you can integrate the TPACK model into your teaching. Artificial intelligence tools into your classrooms. Digital tools in all formats. It could be a projector based, it could be a Blackboard based, it could be a computer based, it could be an online classrooms. Okay. Now, AI in education, you will also be learning how you can generate ideas for classroom activities. How I can evaluate an essay kind of answers using AI. How can I generate real-world application examples? How can I create stories, images using AI? You can create beautiful images using AI. If I want to create some kind of quiz, some assessment, some exercise, reading, comprehension, emails, circulars, long paragraphs, questions, multiple choice papers, everything can be done. Google Lens. You will be learning about Google Lens in the class. Now, simulation. I'll just take you through this. It just takes some time to load, teachers. Okay, I will just go on another quick file. Now see this, if I have to teach this particular concept of mirror, you were asking me for physics, right? Who was asking me for physics? Ratma, you were asking me for physics, right? Who was asking me for physics? Gandhi was asking me for physics, yeah. Now see this simulation platform. Now, people
use full-length mirrors to see their whole body.
Okay, so this is how I can...
But is a full-length mirror really necessary? Do we use the whole mirror when we look at ourselves?
Correct. So this is some of the things which I'm skipping for now. Now you make a child do an activity like that. Okay, now the distance, if you see from the mirror, is 5 feet. The length of the mirror is 5 feet. And the source of rays is from the shoe. Now I can just change the slider wherever I want. The students can do permutation and combination. Correct? I just change the slider. I just change the length of the mirror. And if I play and I see, look at this. So angle of incidence, angle of refraction, all that they can learn with these kind of permutation and combination with the slider. Yes, it is a full mirror, a full image. Just move this. You saw this? Now, anything they can do, they can keep changing and they will understand what should be the length of the mirror. And then you have a lot of other questions that they can answer. So you have questions here. What is the shortest mirror length? What is the shortest mirror length, such as a young man can still see his knee? So you see the content that is there. So this is a kind of a simulation that you can use in physics. So if I have to teach like that, don't you feel that's going to be so interesting? See how the mirror works. And you have a content where a lot of examples are there. So this is how a simulation works. I hope, Gandhi, I could answer your question. If I use Nearpod, I'll be sharing a link in a while for you all because you're all attending the webinar. So you will be all receiving a certificate, which I'll be sharing at the end of the class. Now, if I want to teach them, okay, and see what can I do in Nearpod? If I want to go in detail, correct? Isn't that amazing and beautiful? Wherever I want to take them. So this is how I can teach. If I want to teach them about lungs, I can actually take them in, explain each and every part rather than carrying a model in the classroom. So if you have to teach like that, there is more of retention happening. Correct? So you see these, how beautifully you can explain. Now, if I want to teach them a concept, I put now I can teach them, what is it? Equal, greater than, whatever I want to do. So this is how I can teach my concepts. You can go much more in detail. Okay, I'm just showing you because of the time constraint. Now see this PhET simulation. If I want to teach them the positive and negative charges, suppose if I want show no charges, for example. Okay, let's reset the balloon. I can do whatever I want. Show the charge difference. You saw this? So whatever I wanted to do here, I can do that. So I can show the charge difference. So you can teach like that. So isn't this beautiful? So understand, teachers, where are we today? So this is the balloon and static electricity. Now, look at this. If I want to teach something, this is something which children at times do find it very difficult to understand. So what if suppose I need a bar graph or I need a pie chart? Okay, I don't need a bar chart. I need a grid. Whatever I want to do, you seeing this? Now see this. I will put this guy here and it will give me. So you can see this. The red is the thermal, the blue is the potential, the green is the kinetic energy. I can put it into slow motion and teach the learners. See this. Beautiful. Now, if I want to change the mass, suppose I want to increase the mass and I will reduce the friction, then let's see what happens. See this. What happened? The green, when was the green increasing? When was the blue increasing? So you can teach them, the basics of kinetic energy, potential energy, and much more. Correct, teachers? So isn't this so amazing? So this is about Nearpod. This is how you can teach them. Then you can also reward learners on Class Dojo. See, this is my class that I've created. So if I want to give them, great job. So I gave her +2 for doing a great job. So this is where the technology is. All these things we cover in our classrooms. Okay. Now, what all you'll be learning in your Microsoft. If I have to create, this is how you'll be creating an ebook on OneNote. There are lots that you'll be doing, teachers. So if you see this, these all are like how we create the partition. We have a partition. So now my book is of math and I have created sections. And in those sections, I've created pages. So I created a section that is BODMAS. Now in BODMAS, I have created these pages. That is notes, worksheet, assessments. And this is how I can write everything. I can, upload a YouTube. You can see this, the YouTube has been uploaded so that they don't have to move out of the screen or they don't need to move out of the book. And you can do many things here. You can add an audio. You can add your PDF file. You can add your entire worksheet here. You can give them, well done. You can give them a lot of stickers, emojis, a lot of things can be done. So this is what you'll be learning in OneNote. That is how to create an ebook. Okay, so that's how I was talking about the technology part. You can create forms like these. So you will also be learning how you can create forms. You can see all these options here, how you can create the ratings. So this is all. You can see how beautifully you can create forms with a lot of options. So that's about your Microsoft Forms. Okay. So this is Padlet. This is how you see all the learners of our class took pledge. that how will they make use of ITP in their classrooms. So they all come up here and they put up their suggestions. And that's what you will be learning. So you will also put up a pledge and you will also help have an interactive sessions with your learners. They can put up their thoughts. Okay. So you will be learning in MCE. That's going to be OneNote, which I just shared with you, Forms, which I just shared with you, Teams, Word, PowerPoint presentation, Nearpod, which